Hi everybody, welcome back. It's Meridy here, and I am here today with our 5th video for the Powerhouse Limitless and Essentials Kit. And let me show you what I want to work with today. So today I want to work with some pictures from Disney World, and they're pictures right here. We're waiting in line for, I can't remember if it's Rise of the Resistance or, oh my gosh, or Smuggler's Run. I think it's for Rise of the Resistance. I think. I have to look it up before I write any of my journaling for this. So we're in line at, let's just say it's Rise of the Resistance for now. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't tell the difference in the lines. It's because I've only been there once. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 6 3x4 pictures that are portrait view and 3 4x3 pictures that are landscape view. And so we're gonna make a double page because that's a lot of pictures. But I thought that these pictures and the look of them worked really well with this kit. So I pulled out a few pieces that I thought I wanted to use out of the ephemera pack. This just looks like a little power grid and a tag and some gauges. So I thought I might use those. And then this is just the leftover bits and pieces that some of them I already cut apart and didn't use on other layouts, some cogs, stuff like that, the leftover alphabets that I have. So I can always pull into those embellishments. I've got my scraps of paper, and then I pulled out the following other papers. I liked this one, I think, because of these little things. They look like they could be, you know, in those pictures. And then these 3 awesome textures. This is from the 6x8 paper pad that came in the Essentials Kit, and I love those 3 textures. I think they look really good with my pictures. I've got my cut apart here that's mainly cut apart. I'm not even too sure if there's anything really usable off this, maybe this gauge right here, because it's not construction, so I don't want to use the tools and things like that. Maybe this gauge too, we'll see. And then I've got this awesome piece of paper because it just looks like it just works with these pictures. Like it just fits in so well with all the gauges and things in the background. So there's that sheet of 12x12 paper. And then this is the B side, but I probably will use this side. And then I've got this sheet of paper, which again, the texture and the color just looks great with my pictures. And this is the B side. I probably won't use any of the plaid side on this one. And then I've got my 2 sheets of white cardstock that are gonna be the base of my layout. So I did a few things, or I brainstormed a little before I started videotaping. And I thought to myself, I maybe want to create a diagonal look, or even a diagonal look across 2 pages. I'm not really sure how that's gonna look right now. I could get these laid out, that would be nice. Let's see, I think you've got them both in your view there now. So I thought about somehow making a diagonal or even a giant diagonal from page to page. I'm not sure, something. And then I went online and I looked up, because we're at Disney World, so I wanted to put one or more of my sheets of paper, especially this implied texture paper, and I wanted to make them into Mickey Mouse head shapes. So I went online and I found an image of a silhouette of Mickey Mouse, and I printed it. I made it 4 different sizes and printed it and cut it out with scissors. So these are gonna be templates, you know, if I want a Mickey head somewhere on my design, or a couple Mickey heads somewhere on my design. But I just made them in 4 different sizes. You can do that with any shape if you want a star, or, you know, any simple shape that you're comfortable cutting pretty much by hand, because that's how you're gonna have to do it. Another option is to cut a shape on your die cutting machine, like if you had a silhouette or a cricket or something, and you could cut a Mickey head out of there, but I didn't want to do that. It was just easy enough for me to cut them out by hand, and then I can trace them on the pattern paper I want and cut them out that way. I don't feel the need for it to be absolutely perfect lines on the Mickey head. So you can do that, like I said, with all kinds of things. You could do it with a cog shape, like a giant cog shape that you just find an image on the internet and print it a few different sizes. Okay, so back to our layout. I really, really love this paper, and I don't know how to make a diagonal, I mean, I only have one sheet of each of these. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to, I think I want to cut this paper right here because I don't think I need the workbench in the bottom. I just want these gauges. And I think on the sides, I can somehow use some of the other papers that I have. So I am going to go to my trimmer and cut this, and I will tell you how many inches I'm cutting off. Let's see, if I cut 8 inches, how about 7.5 inches? 7.5 inches is perfect because it ends right there at the bottom. And then I'm left with this workbench. So if I need to use this on another layout, I can, or the back side. So I'm gonna set that off to the side. I know you guys can probably hear the airplane flying over because there's been a lot of airplanes lately. So I kind of don't even notice them ever in life living here, except when I am filming a video. And then I'm gonna see how I can do this. You know, these don't reach to the end, so I'm not really loving that. I realize that it's taller. I realize that they're taller than this paper, but let's see. It reaches to the end that way, but then it's too short. And then I'm afraid, so since these are, okay, since these are 6 inches wide, I know that they're 6 inches wide. So I know that if I cut this paper in half, 6 inches, it also will not cover the end. You know what I'm saying? Like it's still gonna leave a gap there and a gap there. But maybe I can purposely not go to the end. Like that. And I don't want to cut the bottoms off these two yet because I'm not sure, I don't know that I necessarily want to use these papers. I'm just kind of using them as a size guide right now. And I also don't want to cover up a ton of this awesome paper. You know, I'm just really difficult right now. So let me just continue being difficult. And I don't have any idea like what I'm doing here. So let's see, I'm not even paying attention to the order of these pictures. I'm just seeing what I've got here to work with. I would like the pictures to go diagonally. I think that looks good. And I don't know if I want them like all lined up, just marching across the page like this. Like, I don't know if I like that. And then maybe I should have them go all the way off the edge. In which case I can move them down if I need to not cover up that paper as much. But then I'm gonna run into, I'm cutting people off over here. I just have a lot of pictures here that I'm working with, and I just really love the paper that I'm working with, so this is not easy. Oh, it is the Smuggler's Run line, just so everyone knows. I just found my little note that I had on the back of my picture. Oh, I even have a question mark, not sure if it's Smuggler's Run or not. Okay, I am going to keep messing with this configuration that I've got going on here and see how I can make it work. I'm kind of liking it better spacing these out like this. And then I think I like these textured papers at the end because I think if I cut out a Mickey head, I do want to cut it out of this. I think that would look cool. Mickey heads are usually black anyway, and this is nice and textured, and I think it will go good with the vibe of this layout. So maybe I do want to leave these textured pieces like they are. And maybe I want the same one at both ends, possibly. Like I wonder if I have the other sheet of that, although I think I used it on another layout. Let me look. Okay, I figured out, I went and looked through all of my paper, and I figured out a design that I want to do all the way, so it will go all the way across the page. Yeah. And it will just fit nicely. So I've already cut a little bit out of this piece, so I'm going to use it on this side, since it doesn't need to be very long. And then this piece I'm going to use on this side. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to move all my pictures. I'm not sure if this is how I want them to lay out or not, and I'm really not worried about it right now. I'm going to move all my pictures. I am going to get this exactly how I want it. I'm going to go ahead and trim these so that they're only 7.5 inches tall, because I am going to put them at the end like that. So 7.5 inches and 7.5 inches. I'm going to go ahead and trim that part off of this that I don't need from the last layout that I made with it. Okay. And then I'm going to get this laid out the way I like it, and I'm going to use a pencil to kind of outline the top and the bottom of this. I want that piece to show a lot. So on this side, I'm going to have it show just as much. So I'm going to cut this to the exact same size as this one, which is 2 inches. I'm cutting a 2-inch strip. Okay, so these are 2 inches by 7.5 inches. This is 7.5 inches tall by 12 inches wide. And these are the 6-inch papers, but I'm going to cut them down when I see how far they hang off the side. But they're 7.5 inches tall right now. Okay, and I think I've got this like a pretty good diagonal. Like that. So I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to just simply draw a line where the top, across the whole top and across the whole bottom. And I'm drawing it super light because I don't want it to accidentally show when I adhere all this down. Okay, and I'm gonna move these papers. All right, what I wanna do on that diagonal is come in with a little bit of my stencil and do light stencil work sticking out from the bottom. And I want to use the stencil that is the cogs. And I'm just doing a tiny bit, like the line is right here. I'm barely putting it over the line because I don't want this to be really noticeable. It's just gonna be really subtle. And I'll flip sometimes I'll use this side, sometimes I'll use this side of the stencil. And since I do want it to be subtle, I want to do it in a subtle color. I'm gonna grab 3 colors out. I'm going to grab Weathered Wood, Lost Shadow, and Tea Dye. And I'm going to kind of do a combination of all 3 of those colors together. So let me get a scratch piece of paper to stick under here. And I'm just really, really lightly going to do this. And I'm just a little bit of like super light. Tea dye. I'm gonna mix it with some weathered wood. And Lost Shadow. And I'm gonna lift this up in a second to see how it looks. I'm dipping my same brush from the Lost Shadow to the Weathered Wood because they're very similar. I'm using a separate brush for the tea dye. Yep, and see how subtle that is? That's all I want. I don't want it to be really dark because I don't want it to detract from the other stuff on this layout. There's a lot of pattern papers and there's a lot of pictures on this layout. So this just needs to be very subtle. So I'm gonna go ahead with these 3 colors and I'm gonna continue doing this across the top and then across the bottom, and I will be right back. I did these 3 colors with the stencil. And I'm gonna go ahead and start adhering the papers down because that is the next step that needs to happen. So I'm just going to start with this middle sheet and kind of, let me line them back up one more time so I make sure that I'm getting them in the right spot. That's more in the middle. And then, yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and adhere the middle sheet to this half first. That way I can just trim off where the page ends and adhere it to the other page. So I still wanna keep it lined up so I know that I'm going straight. But I will just set this down right, right about there. And then I'll go and trim off right here with my paper trimmer. That's the easiest way to do it. To try to trim it ahead of time and get it at the correct angle, what for me would be impossible. I am certain it's not impossible, but it would be impossible for me. I would just make a mess. So I'm gonna get this down and then the rest of the pieces down, and I will be right back. This piece is going to also stick off the end. So I'm going to take that to my paper trimmer and trim that so that there's no more pieces hanging off of the end. All right, so now we've got the base of our layout happening here. Now I can go in to my pictures, and I'm probably gonna have to do some of this off camera because I really truly don't know how I'm gonna make all these pictures fit. And it's not easy for me right now. Not easy. Like I want to see the paper, I want to see my stencils, I want to see everything. So I'm going to go off camera and get these arranged and organized the way I want them, and I will be right back. I think I've got them all arranged the way I like them, but I'm going to do a little bit of maneuvering in here. So what I'm going to do first, because I want to mat all of these pictures and I want to mat them on white paper, but I don't want the mat to even take up more space on this page than what I'm already covering up with my pictures. So I am trimming every picture down 1/4 inch off of 2 sides. So that way I can just put them on 3" by 4" mats, and they will take up the same space as what it's showing right now. Like once they're matted, they'll still take up the same real estate space as what they're showing right now. So I'm gonna go trim all of these pictures 1/4 inch off of 2 sides, and then I'm gonna mat them all on white cardstock, and I'm gonna cut just a super, super thin mat. I don't want them to be a thick mat, and I will do that and be right back. All right, guys, so I've got everything matted, and I think that I'm gonna go ahead and start adhering things down. Let me just get it all exactly laid out the way I want it. And I'm not going to really adhere down with a lot of adhesive because I want to be able to come back in and stick things and stick layers under my pictures, like the little Mickey heads that I want to make. So I'm just debating. I think I want that one to be more over there to kind of bring the eye in. So I am gonna go ahead and adhere all of these down. Okay, so I've got everything adhered except this half of this picture, because again, I'm going to take the whole page to my paper trimmer and just trim off right where that picture crosses to the other side. And then I can go down and adhere this side, just like that. So I've got all my pictures on here now, and now I've got a variety of little things that I thought I was going to use. Huh, that's kind of cute. It's almost like a hidden Mickey. That's too big though. I thought I was going to use all of these things. I may still use some of them. Let's see here. This one is small enough that it can fit. This is pretty big, and I don't want to cover up the details of my pictures too much because the details in Disney is what makes it so amazing. This can be going in the right direction here. I've got a little visual triangle. I am gonna grab the embellishments and the cut aparts that I was thinking about using. I'm gonna cut out a variety of things from these pieces. I'm mostly gonna cut out these gauges and pipes and the bolts and this thing, because that's what looks like it would match these pictures. So I'm gonna go ahead and fussy cut a bunch of these out and I will be right back. Okay, so I got a bunch of little pieces cut out. There's no rhyme or reason. They just fell where they fell on my layout. I'm also gonna grab these Mickey heads that I cut to see if I want to use these as a template and add a Mickey head in anywhere. So I wanted to say a few things about when I cut these. I cut some of them, and obviously some of this paper is out of our Essentials Kit. And as you may know, if you did not order in the first couple of days of release, we ran out of Essentials Kits because the proportion of Essentials Kits sold out faster than what we anticipated. So we are rectifying that for next month. So hopefully next month, in whatever month that is, April, we won't sell out of our Essentials Kit so fast. Like, you'll have plenty of time to pick one up. That's what we're hoping anyway. So yeah, the kits are just starting to sell a little bit faster and faster. And we order quite a few months in advance. So it's, you know, once we realize we need to start ordering more of something, it takes a couple months for it to catch up. Yeah, so we can fix that quantity issue. So I'm sorry if you didn't get an Essentials. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So if you didn't get an Essentials to cut all of these pieces out, there's still plenty of pieces left that were in the Limitless Kit to fussy cut from. Or maybe you can just use something different from the pattern paper of the Limitless Kit. Okay guys, I'm gonna keep messing and playing with these little pieces. I'm just trying to keep it balanced by putting them around in little groupings. And I do think that I'm going to cut just one Mickey, maybe. I don't know that I'm gonna cut both of these Mickeys out of the black paper. It might look okay with just one. I kind of liked the one up here though, sticking out. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut him from this sheet of paper. I'm just gonna trace that head, the ears, and cut it like that. And maybe not have this one, or maybe I will have this one and then even a tinier one over here. So let me continue placing down embellishments and see how this is coming, and then I'm gonna do that off camera because I could sit here rearranging for a real long time, and then I will come back with what I come up with. So I'll be right back. Alrighty, I think I have my embellishments pretty much laid out where I want them to go, and I'm going to go ahead and start adhering them down. This one, of course, spans over 2 pages, as well. It goes right over that seam. So I'm just going to adhere half of it. And then after I get things adhered down, I'll come trim the other half off. And then, so I've got all these layers that I'm gonna work on. I'm gonna turn off the camera to get them all adhered down because I know that you're not gonna want to watch me glue things, but I wanted to say something that I now forgot. Oh, but the title, I want to say Mighty Cool Details. So the word mighty, it came in the kit, and the rides at Disney always have like the coolest details, or the lines, I'm sorry. The lines, just everything in Disneyland and Disney World always seems to have the coolest details to me. So I want the title of this because we're in line for a ride and it's just all the details. I mean, it really looks like we're in the movie Star Wars. So I'm gonna say Mighty Cool Details, and I'm gonna use the word mighty here, and then I'm gonna use the alphabet stickers because I have enough to spell out cool details. So I'm going to adhere all of these embellishment layers down. I'm gonna pop a couple things up with foam tape. Basically what's the layer that's on top of each little cluster. I'm gonna pop up on foam tape so it's a little dimensional, and then I will be right back to alter my title because I don't want it to be white because it's blending in right there. So I will be right back to show you how I'm gonna alter that so that it is noticeable and stands out. So I will be right back. Alrighty, I'm going to trim this off so I can adhere it onto the right hand page. And then I think to make that word mighty really pop, I think I want to make it be, it's gonna need to be in a color that is noticeable and standing out from all the colors that are in the background right there. And the way to do that, I think, is to pick this, to pick the shade of like these earthy tone shades. So I'm thinking I'm going to use the tea dye Distress Oxide ink pad, and I'm just gonna pull it. I'm gonna get a old piece of packaging that I don't use anymore. Lacey taught me this on her live videos. Lacey does a live video once a month on our Facebook group. So if you're not part of that Facebook group yet, you might want to join that. It's the Not Just for Boys Kit Club community Facebook group. And she does a live video once a month, I'm sorry, using our current kit. So she taught me how to use the packaging to ink on, because you don't have to, you're gonna throw it away anyways. So, and it's kind of nice because the ink kind of goes onto the packaging, but you can still pick it up and move it back onto the cardstock that you're inking up. So I learned this tip from her. So I'm gonna go off camera and finish inking up this word mighty, and I will be right back. Okay, so I've got the word mighty inked up. Of course, I lost the little dot to my eye, so I'm gonna have to find that somewhere. It's somewhere. I'm not gonna look for it right now while I'm making this video. So mighty, and then cool and details, I'm going to line up where I want them. And I will use my little rulers to do that. Okay, and then I kind of want the words cool and details to kind of overlap the end of my Y, so it reads as the title. So I'm gonna go ahead and adhere the word mighty down. And I'm just using the glitter glue to do that, because I have this little fine tip point and it works well for getting the glue on the back of each letter and this word is kind of too big. I don't know if you've seen in my other videos, sometimes I put this glue on the back of my hand and dip it into the glue, but this word is kind of too big to do that with. So I'll just glue it like that. I want to make sure I don't cover any, oh my goodness, nothing important with this title. Wow, I'm making just a huge mess. Okay, so nothing important is getting covered up there. So I've got, you can still see this stormtrooper in this picture. You can still see my sister's face in this picture. You can still see my kids in this picture. So even though the letters are overlapping pictures, I feel like they are not covering anything important. And then I think I'll put cool and details. So mighty cool details. And with the cool and the details, I like to add extra glue to the back of my little alphabet stickers because I don't want them popping off, you know, down the road when they're in my album. So where did I have this? Oh dear. So I am gonna put the little dot of glue on the back of my hand like I was talking about before, and kind of get those letters with a little adhesive on them. The two O's were not actually O's, they were Q's because there was 2 Q's on the alphabet set, but I ran out of O's, so I just cut the little tail off the Q. So you can do that if you run out of O's and haven't used your Q's up yet. You could do that. So that's what I did to get the word cool. And then I had all the other letters. I didn't have to mess with them to make them. So I think after I get this title adhered down, I want to put a few splatters around on my page because, you know, I just love splatters. And I think I'm just going to put a very few. I'm going to use the black soot splatters because I just want a couple, and I just want them around the 3 areas that my embellishment clusters are in. Like, I'm not going to put splatters all over, and I just want a very few. So I'm going to grab those. And you know, my eye dot, I have a little Mickey Mouse head punch somewhere. I'm not sure where. I might put a little Mickey Mouse head punched piece of paper to make the dot of my eye. I think that would be cute. Back to the black soot. Okay, I just want to put a little paper there in case it splatters onto my work surface. And like I said, I just want a few. I really don't want them on this guy, so I should have covered him up. Okay, and that's all I want on there. And then just a few down here as well. There's not even really a lot of room to put them down here. And then a few down here. I'm gonna cover up my pictures. I've just got some scraps of paper that I used there to cover my pictures. Okay, I think that's all of the splatters that I would like to use. Okay guys, besides the dot of my eye that is missing, I think this layout is done. And if you are inspired by this layout, you can come to our Not Just for Boys Kit Club community Facebook group and share anything that you make, whether it's with this kit or supplies out of your stash or anything. If you were inspired by this, we would love to see what you make. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back with the 6th video in a few days. Bye.